Does it work? Am I online? Did I break something? I hmm. Looks like it should be fine. Hello, welcome everyone. Oh, this is so stupid. Yeah, but hello, welcome. I hope you have a fantastic Friday, uh, and fantastic beginning to your weekend. I hope it will be great. Thanksgiving and everything. Don't talk to me right now, phone. Yeah, to be fair, maybe before I start reading out, I will yap for a second. Because I kinda realized, like, I've been here for a few years now. Like, being human is extremely difficult. And in general, I made a terrible mistake of smoking, and it's very bad. Last week, I've been not productive at all. I think I've wasted the entire week doing absolutely nothing. I'm at least a week behind pulling out the audiobook. I will do this. Tomorrow will be second part, third part will be by Sunday. Absolutely, I will force myself to do this, but it made me realize how awful I feel right now because I have been addicted to a substance. And it made me kind of appreciate how difficult being a human is. I've through the last few years, I don't know, it's been 2.5, maybe 3 years since I came down from the void, and I've grown pretty used to eating before it hurts and other things, but it's very complicated. I applaud everyone who is functioning right now. It's insane. You have to remember to exercise, you have to eat, you have to sleep well, drink a lot of water, have fun so you don't go entirely mad. It's absolutely insane. It's mad. I really, really applaud and appreciate everyone who's going on and keeping up the great work. Being human is extremely difficult to balance everything in your life, in your diet, exercises, to keep a positive mindset in life. It's very difficult, right? But yeah, we are here to learn everything slowly, part by part, inch by an inch. We are walking towards learning more and more every day. Let's hope it will stay that way for a little bit longer. Also, I feel like hit a brick wall to some extent. I didn't advertise my streams a lot. I didn't tell any of my friends or anyone because I'm so afraid what they say. That it's hmm, I don't feel like I should talk about this. Having nobody watch a stream is expected. It's nothing new. Just demotivating. It's won't make me stop. I realized this week why I started this to document the journey of learning. Be better at what I'm doing to have it well documented, and maybe perhaps I will find someone who I can talk with. Maybe I can create in the meantime community that will accept and help each other. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. The music fits very well. I liked it. I didn't mean for it to go that way. Anyway, I already yapped for 3 minutes ish. That's everything. 5 minutes. Side by side. Yeah, also, the human body is quite fragile. It's very, very strong. It's hard. It's rough. It can sustain many injuries. It can survive many different things. Now it's very sturdy. It's complex. It's also fragile. I This week I did something to my knee. I have no idea what I did, and it still hurts. Several days later, I cannot kneel on it, even if I wanted. But yeah, being human is rough. You guys are doing a great job at staying alive. Also realize I need a bigger cup. So I have half a liter of water, which will last me for nothing because I'm already half past it. Yeah, I will refill. Be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Let's go back to reading, I guess. Last time we got to know the characters a bit better. Today's gonna be probably the same. I'm gonna be delving a little bit more into them. I realized the book is a real slow burner, and it has a lot of flaws, as I pointed out yesterday. Like a lot of repetition, many problems because so English is not my first language. As much as I want to say I'm decent at English, the main difference between the languages is still kind of rough because the translation works, but not really. So there are some mistakes here and there. And yeah. But I feel like we're getting into the part of the story, like why everything's happening. So it's gonna be a bit more interesting from episode to episode right now. And I hope you will like it. I hope everyone will like it. Now, pleasing everyone is absolutely impossible, but I hope at least someone will find this story fun. It will bring a bit of joy, some time of relaxation to their life. Also, this is exclusive for streams, it won't be here in the video. Recording Echo of the Silent, Part 3. The next morning, students slowly made their way towards the school. It was Friday, and after yesterday's practice, everyone was still exhausted. Lucky for them, the lesson started as early as 10 in the morning, making waking up less of a chore. Another factor, the lesson plan was designed with the health in mind. 2 lessons of geography, lunch break, and other 2 lessons in common, previously known as English. After the Third World War in year 2035, the world changed forever. Small nations united and created federational unions to better protect themselves. The United Federation of Pacific consists of Northern and Southern America, Japan, North and South Korea, part of India, Australia, and New Zealand. Another massive power is Eurasia Union, consisting of both continents, excluding Ukraine, Belarus, Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Finland. During the war, all civilian population was evacuated from the countries, and a barrier of nuclear fallout was created to keep advancing armies away. Currently, those lands are a remnant of civilization that once was, with violet flora that have learned to feed on radiation rather than solar energy. While it might not have been the best resolution, the land will remain impenetrable to humans for at least another 200 years. Lastly, while it is the smallest power in the world, it has a reputation as the most radical and unhinged union ever to exist. People's Republic of Eurasia compromi- comprises Russia. Huh? The People's Republic of Eurasia comprises Russia and the rest of Asia. People have every right to blame them for many wars, but ever since the Republic was formed, those in charge have made many changes, giving power back to the people. Reformation and changes in people's mentally never happened overnight, but they are on the way. Learning all of that in school after a hard day would be very. I wish I could be better at this. In a half a year I will, but learning all of that in school after a hard day wouldn't be productive. Instead, students took control of drones and explored the world. While it is fun to see the depths of the ocean, the highest peak on Earth, or even set foot in the exclusion zone for a limited time, it all has an underlying reason. The places they explore were never random, as familiarity with many different terrains might prove useful on future military missions. Yet, even with military guidance, Miko always landed her drone in a snowy mountains, a view she could never get enough of. Ever since she was little, skiing has run in her blood. Instead of learning the terrain, she was chasing the thrill of speeding down the hill at net-breaking speed. It was the best she could have in the current situation. Still, it was never enough, as her mind would often play tricks on her, and an unknown figure would make her drone crash into a hard surface, never captured on camera. While everyone was enjoying a free lesson, Yuki didn't participate and kept on reading from about the spiritual While everyone was enjoying a free lesson, Yuki didn't participate and kept on reading about the spiritual particles. He had no interest in the world as it currently stood. Explaining the mystery behind empty powers and what lies beyond them was his current goal. Hours passed as he didn't move a finger, focused entirely on his lecture, until the bell rang. Today he was prepared, pulling out a square lunchbox filled to the brim with different handmade snacks, from rolled sandwich bites to fruity toothpicks and rice balls. Yuki didn't have to wait long until the box was snatched from his desk by Seth. That's precisely why he made it, so he can have a moment of peace. Excuse me, Yuki? Said Maria softly. I saw that you often don't eat during lunch, so I made you this. Pulling out a tightly wrapped box of stuffed rice balls showered in sesame. It's my way to say thank you for all the help and support you do in practice. I usually don't eat during the day to retain focus, he replied, by why emotionless. It was also careful. That's fine, I should have asked before I made it anyway. She started to cover the box, but wasn't quick enough. Too late for that now, said Yuki, and swiftly grabbed one bowl from the box. Not wasting any time, he took a bite out of it instantly. Mmm, delicious. Before she could react, he finished the first one and already grabbed the second one. You should have some too, they are delicious. "Mm, thank you, replied embarrassed Maria, and also grabbed a bowl so she wouldn't look creepy watching him eat. Can I ask you something personal? I. But she wasn't waiting for the answer. Yuki started. Your breakup with Miko. Is it real or just so others will leave you alone? She whispered quietly to his ear. What makes you ask that? Not often in the slightest, not offended in the slightest. But the wound was still fresh. Surprisingly, her reasoning was on point. Your lunches. They have different dishes but the same ingredients. I guess we still like similar things. We've been together for a while. His expression saddened, but she still wasn't buying it. It's okay, I won't tell anyone, she whispered. Thank you, he whispered back. No, it's all because of you. For someone who doesn't have powers, to know so much about them was so impressive. I started to ask myself, what's the difference between us? It's not exactly knowledge of said powers, but rather knowing yourself. That inspired me to question everything. Why do I like something? Why does it make me angry? And so on. That's good. Looking down on him wasn't uncommon. But whatever makes them grow. Yeah, I owe you a lot. Unintentionally insulting towards Yuki, but our actions were of pure intent. Talking through the entire break, it wasn't how he planned to spend it, but he also didn't slow his progress that much. He'd rather let her tire herself out than to be rude. A small sacrifice for the price of someone's smile, he thought. He also didn't help others to prove how good or better he was. It was all because he wanted them to grow as students, as operators, and most importantly, as people. Guess she learned that faster than he expected. Her reasoning was pretty flawed. The gap in the knowledge was unbelievable, but curiosity and purpose are the first step towards closing it. After lunch, the next lesson was common. With geopolitical shifts across the globe, one language has been chosen for international use. While it wasn't the most widely used language presented, the sheer number of states that used it overruled the result by a considerable margin. It was one language for the world dream. However, students across the globe were still encouraged to learn their native languages, as research has shown that this can help develop their brains tremendously. That and keeping the tradition and the feeling of belonging alive. Unfortunately, the student for student this was the boring lesson, where you had to listen and write by hand, as penmanship was still valued in society. Everyone except Yuki, who couldn't be bothered and kept reading about the erratic behavior of atoms and particles. The teacher also learned that it was pointless to force him into the lesson, since she couldn't catch him off guard. Every question about the current lesson, a previous lesson, or what someone just said, he was always ready to answer. His writing was glorious, as if his hands were created to do just that, and since she never had any problems with him, she just let it go. The point of the lesson isn't to torment students a power trip over your superiority, but to share knowledge and help them grow. Accepting she couldn't teach him anything he didn't already know was the lesson she quickly understood. On the other hand, there was Miku, who also couldn't be taught anything, but she followed through the lesson regardless, just to make sure she didn't miss anything. Both academic geniuses, with a median of 100% score, but their approach was so vastly different that many speculated that maybe it was the reason they grew apart. No one dared to say it out loud, but spreading rumors is a different thing. I really hope the microphone picks everything, but this is going to be so annoying if it's a failure. Lessons ended as fast as they started for students who could now rest after another week of hard work. Yuki, as per usual, disappeared in the library alone, as his work was far from being over. However, if resting was graded, he would fail spectacularly. "Miku!" screamed Amy from behind, with Jade tailing slowly after her. "Hey, wanna go watch a movie or something?" Sure. What were you planning?" "No idea," laughed the red-haired girl. "To be honest, I didn't plan that far. We honestly didn't know if we would catch you before you disappeared in your cave," remarked Jane. "I'm just a bit tired." "You've been tired an awful lot lately," said Amy, worried about her friend. "Are you sure you're fine?" "Yeah, just adjusting to the new situation slowly." "I don't suppose you want to talk about it?" asked Jane. "There's nothing to talk about. What's done is done, but it might take me a while to accept the consequences," replied emotionlessly Miku. "We are here for you. If you ask me, you made the right choice. He's too arrogant for someone who cannot even stand up for himself. No wonder we grew tired of him leeching off of you." "I don't agree, Amy," interjected Jane. "For someone who spends an awful lot of time helping others, it cannot be just because he feels superior. Still, spending a lot of time with him might be tiresome. Can we change the topic? If Miku doesn't want to talk about it, we shouldn't force her, and I feel very uncomfortable talking about someone I barely know." "Hey, since when is a bit of bashing your ex a bad thing?" laughed it off Amy, but it wasn't funny to Jane. "Remember to hydrate." Since we bash someone whom we know nothing about. From what I know, they just grew apart. He didn't steal her dog, he didn't abuse her, they just split. You're already bordering on bullying him, which I don't like. Turning to Miko, she was visibly frustrated about the turn out of events. I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude. I know this is hard for you, but if you don't want to talk about it, let's not. I support you, but I will never blindly follow if it feels you are doing something wrong. Sorry. Emmy was flabbergasted. Although they had known each other for 2 months, she had never seen such a fierce response from Jade on any subject, but she was right. I never wanted... I never wanted to talk about it in the first place. Brushing it off, Miko took her explosion of temper quite well. He changed. Wasn't abusive or anything like that, but it definitely wasn't the same. He doesn't deserve berating for it, but does for what he makes of himself. Well, not much. Friends had something, a cramp of truth they could go off. They noticed his change too. From laughing at being open, he devolved into someone far more serious on every step and closed off. There was still something that didn't fit. Was Miku resenting him for his sickness? Was he responsible for it? She sure made it sound like it was his choice. Once the atmosphere cooled a bit, the girls went to the Commerce Center for the movie to wash away the sore taste of this conversation. The choice of the movie, however, was a debate of its own. Due to the school and Miko's situation, a few genres were declined instantly. After some back and forth, they finally agreed on a light-hearted comedy. With a single ping sound coming from his cell phone, Yuki's attention was entirely diverted from the article he was reading. A message came from Mia, saying, You now work for my mom as an intern. Pass is 5265359. Don't abuse it too much. Ecstatic, he quickly replied, You are the best, and jumped on the library computer. There was some information he was seeking, but it was shrouded in secrecy. In the year 20 and 57, a strange anomaly was discovered traveling across the Pacific Ocean. An expedition led by Dr. Eric Gower was launched to investigate. Redacted. So even that does give me the full access, he said to himself. Next year, the Project Veil came to life, and 5 years from that, the shattering occurred. Project Veil. Experimentational freak. Experimentation with atoms in the superposition being accelerated led to the discovery of the rifts through dimensions. Rifts stayed open for a short time but reacted with atoms in a strange manner. For a second, atoms gained previously unseen properties such as self-combustion, freezing, or liquidation. More research was required to discover the reason behind it. In later experiments, researchers discovered the rifts were open for longer periods when opened closer to the anomaly. Redacted. The shattering. Redacted. The anomaly. Page does not exist. Eric Gower, scientist leading UFOP's research on the other dimension. He proved the theory of omega position of particles. Through his research, he became irradiated with dimensional particles. He disappeared during the shattering with other scientists who experimented in this field. Omega position of particles. Redacted. Even though some records weren't entirely hidden, they gave different answers from the public information. Someone doesn't want to let people know what really transpired that day, or wants to protect the data so another shattering doesn't occur. Since he got the first access code, breaking in further would be easier, but doing it unnoticed is an entirely different story. There was no mistake, however, that anomaly was what he was looking for. Many doctors reported different results in their research on the influence. Still, this anomaly was said to defy the rules of reason. Stone melting, air freezing, all of those are possible at extremities, but not at the same time and at the same place. How can objects in normal circumstances have passive influence, while others, chosen at random, don't have any? And what made those influences so volatile that they distorted the reality around them. Why is it so important to protect this information? I'm sorry. Oh, still a bit of cough. Never smoke. Someone, in all of somehow, in all of this thinking, his thoughts started to drift away, getting dizzy and disoriented. His sickness made the executive decision to stop. To, for, Somehow, in all of this thinking, his thoughts started to drift off, getting dizzy and disoriented. His sickness made the executive decision for him to stop. Yuki stood up and began his slow walk towards the exit. He got enough for today, setting a foot in the door to the future, but sadly, most information he seeks would need to be reacquired from the world itself. With the movie ending, girls left the cinema and, still laughing, tried to figure out what to do next. Nico slowed down for a bit, letting them walk forward. Approaching the barrier, she looked down, observing the multitude of stories the shopping center had to offer. Before she could even think about anything, her hand was gripped hard by the barrier, not letting go of her for a while. She wasn't startled by this in the slightest. Instead, she was expecting it to happen. I'm not doing anything, she sighed loudly. Nico, are you coming? Asked Jane. Yes, yes, replied the silver-haired girl, as she and the barrier both let go of one another. Wish we could, wish we could have some long holidays so we could go skiing. I have never been skiing. Maybe when we graduate we could go, said Jane. Oh, for sure. We could go to Hakuba Mountains so I can show you around, offered suddenly energized Nico. I don't know. Can we go skiing without the snow? I hate when it's cold. Looking at the mountains in the movie made me shiver. Amy trembled subconsciously. I'm sure it can be arranged, Amy. Laughed at her friend Jane. But it was widely unknown how people got their powers or why. They certainly felt connected to a person's character. Amy, who grew up on the southwestern coast of North America, preferred sand and sand for relaxation, especially when close to water. This correlates well with her red powers and fiery temper. Jane, who had spent most of her life in Southern America, is used to the warmth and humidity of tropical forest. Her love of the flora fits well with her green power. She doesn't mind a little bit of cold from time to time, though. Iko, being from central Japan, had the most balanced yearly temperature progression, from warm summer to cold, snowy winters. Yet her heart is still closer to the mountains than it is to the sea. Do you have any plans for the rest of the weekend? Asked Jane, curious about others. I will be quite busy, replied Miko. I have a lot of cleaning to do, a bit of studying, and I was thinking about doing a small freshen up of the place. Still thinking about it, but been messing around with a few projects. Seems like a lot of work. Good luck. I will probably find something to read in the library, but I'm open to propositions. What about you, Amy? I'm not much you can do on this piece of metal. I was going to the forest to train for a bit. You can join me if you want. Will you teach me your secret moves? Asked Jane teasingly, but the joke flew past Amy's head. I could, but you would hurt someone in practice, so rather not. Maybe I can teach you some basics, but I'm leaving pretty early. No wonder you're at the top of the class when it comes to hand combat if you train all of your free time, complimented her Jane. Pretty early might be a bit too early for me though. Maybe I'll catch you later then. Sure. Wish there was someone whom I could train with, complained the redhead. Have you thought about asking the teacher for some help? Asked Miko. I know it will. I don't know if he will be willing to go with you, but maybe he can point you to someone who will. I did, but it's not the same anymore. Normal people don't have the same set of advantages as we do, and the skill is quickly surpassed, sadly. How about Yuki? proposed Jane. He might not be physically gifted as the rest of us, but if you connect him to a training robot or something, he could provide you with a challenge. No, there is no way he can do anything other than analyze how he lost. Knowing the theory isn't the same as fighting. I doubt he can give me any good pointers anyway. I guess you would know your stuff, considered Jane. Walking back to their apartments, the small talk continued until they parted ways. Where is the slider? Oi? The truth is, as Amy said, there wasn't much to do at the base for young adults. With school optimized to get the best results from the student, they had a lot of free time for rest, but no real way to do so. Attractions were limited and quickly grew old and boring, with little variety. Most of the time, people would either procrastinate or delve into their hobbies. Jane wasn't a bookworm, but she was interested in human psychology. Getting to know people and understanding them was a type of fun for her. Books were being artificial, let her study people without people. Since Miko had been spending more of her free time with them now, she's a bit too excited about it. Not in a bad way, but was finally going to know her for real. Obviously, she needs a bit more time to get back on her feet. After all, her entire world had flipped upside down. Until then, she will patiently wait until Miko opens up again. Parting ways at the door, each of the girls went on about the evening, preparing food, studying, maybe watching or reading something with the phones before getting ready for the bed. Within hours, the base turned dark as most residents fell asleep. Waking up the next day, after breakfast, Jane decided to go straight to the library. Standing before the wardrobe, she wondered what to wear. Having some freedom to present yourself Having some freedom to present yourself on the weekends was nice. Settling on a green dress with white outlines, she took a few matching bracelets and her purse and left. The sun was already high and giving off pleasant warmth. With a light ocean breeze, it combined into a lovely, lazy weather. She even considered going with Amy to the forest, but she wanted to trade, not just hang out. Knowing her, she was already there. She was already there since well before the dawn. Arriving at the library, she quickly logged in on the computer and started to rummage through different titles. Not looking for anything overly scientific, but maybe some psychological fiction. She found a novel about a detective hunting a sociopath who tries to overthrow the government, mind-controlling its citizens. A complex story of a hunt and a delve into your own morality. Even though the story was interesting, after a while her eyes started to wander around. Quickly, Jane spotted Yuki, wearing a school uniform as per usual, and sitting in the far corner of the room. Was he there when she walked in? What is he reading? The thoughts ran about through her head so fast that she instantly forgot about her book and gave in to her curiosity. Watching him closely, it was bizarre, like watching a sick play doll stare at the screen. Yuki didn't move a finger, nor his head, nor his torso. This cannot be comfortable, and no matter what he reads, it cannot be so mesmerizing that you forget about your own body. Trying to see what he was reading, Jane walked to the shelf behind him inconspicuously and took a peek at his screen. It wasn't human. Whatever he was reading had more symbols and numbers than letters, and in places where they didn't make up words either. She wasn't alien to advanced math or chemistry, as she had studied them in class, but this was on an entirely different level. It's like someone tried to explain humanity through equations. Standing dumbfounded with her mouth gaped open for a minute, she finally realized what she was trying to do. Grabbing a random book from a shelf, she walked back to her desk. Curious about him, she still had to be careful and delicate not to start any rumors. There is enough talk about him already, and it wouldn't be great for her either. With her interest in the novel being entirely gone, Now, she sat idly before the screen, trying to see how long he would sit in there, but that was a duel of attrition Jane wasn't ready for. And after another 30 minutes, she started to get hungry, and spending the entire morning in the library watching someone else read was bored. I'm sure Miku wouldn't have a problem if I talked to him, right? Why would she? Thinking to herself, she left the library towards the dorms. Miku was indifferent towards him, but it would look better if she told her about it beforehand. Getting into unnecessary drama was a risk she wasn't willing to take. There was still too much she didn't know about the situation. Sometime close to noon, Miku finally woke up, slowly getting out of the bed and making her way towards the kitchen. Setting water to boil, she went to uncover the windows after the night and sat near the table in the middle of the room. Student room weren't big, but they weren't too small either. Bedroom, living room with connected kitchen and bathroom. They were also equipped with most practical tools such as an electric stove, oven, dishwasher, washing machine and other essentials. The bathroom was very bare, with a toilet, sink and a small shower cabinet. With the saving, students have absolute freedom to do whatever they desire with the apartment. Miko already changed the dull, dark yellow walls to cozy orange, swapped the black curtains for white ones, and added a few plants to liven up the place. Hanging a few photos of her friends on the walls made it a place she could call home and feel comfortable in. Even though she talked about all her plans, she just wanted to be alone for a while, yet she was never able to be truly on her own. Everyone is so worried about me. Why? I can take care of myself just fine, she thought to herself while the kettle started to whistle. Pouring the water over the tea bag in the cup, she brought it to the table. Looking through the window at the walking city, she slowly sipped hot tea, which made her lips twist. Green tea was her favorite, but it never tasted this sour. Granted, she just did the bare minimum. Her expectations were still crushed. If drinking sour tea for the rest of my life means Yuki will be safe, then so be it, she thought. Truth was, she didn't hate him, or didn't she care? Anger shaded her affection, well, when she realized how much trouble he put himself in, just because he carried. Once again, truth was, she didn't hate him, or didn't she care? Anger shaded her affection when she realized how much trouble he put himself in just because he cared about others more than himself. Being indifferent toward Being indifferent towards him and ignoring his entire existence killed her a little every day. Still, if it helps him forget about her, she was ready for it. She was prepared to do whatever it takes, even if she had to be his worst enemy. Finishing her tea, she went back to the kitchen to get started on dinner, thinking in the meantime about what to do today. Cleaning, maybe she will do laundry. With current technological advancements, both of those were obsolete, yet will keep her occupied for a while. Cool. Now, let's get lost. Fun. It is true that the library holds a vast amount of knowledge, but it wasn't the only reason Yuki liked this place so much. Having the code, he already set up a proxy on his phone, allowing him to connect to the servers from wherever he was, but it was also convenient. Close to the glass spire, it was in the middle of the city, making it easier to respond if something happened. While it was a secret military facility that few knew about, they still found him and Miku without being noticed and did what they pleased. There is no amount of precautions he could take that would be too much. Having empty powers didn't help his situation. Instead, they were the reason behind this whole mess. Attracting unwanted attention in and out of the class, he often wondered what would happen if Miku had never asked officials to take him with her. Would he still attend high school? Would he be even more sick than he is now? Or she was the only reason he kept on going despite the pain and struggle. As long as he does what they say, she will be safe. So it's a fight that's worth fighting for. Empty power didn't mean he was useless. It only meant his particles weren't influenced by any particular influence. Calling on said influence was also impossible, but the more he studied the subject, the more he realized the world is up to interpretation. Even the most expert operators needed a catalyst to spread their influence as they want, making a symbiotic power, not always required, but very helpful with control and guidance. If catalysts didn't have anything to gain from this relationship, they wouldn't do the job the same way. In the end, everything seeks its own profit. Catalysts aren't empty, they have a negative influence. They maintain equilibrium. To maintain equilibrium, it accepts the influence and spreads it if the threshold is reached. However, because they constantly dispose of said influence, they can be reused again and again, as their equilibrium is ultimately unstable. Yeah, let's go. Uh, hmm, sorry, scarf. Ultimately unstable. Still, no one knows exactly where they came from. Same as with the influence among the atoms and peoples. They just came to be during the shattering. Finding them in natural nature still rather at random, in the places where natural influence gathers, but it's not reliable. The question that no one seemed to bother with is, can a person have a negative influence? If objects can be in both states, can their extension also be? What is a human if not a more complicated system of atoms? The problem with that would be, how would they find them? Would they passively absorb influence from around them? Would they empower and spread the influence just like the catalysts do? Current tests that define one's influence aren't perfect. They only test how the catalyst would be influenced by the user. His empty power is called that because the catalyst was influenced by the background factors, which don't occur in any other circumstances. Meaning, there is something there, but not in the spectrum they can observe yet. Sadly, no large scale research can be done because of them, or the sickness, however you call it. But it doesn't stop him from doing his own. If he cannot live how he wants in this world, he will make it the world where everyone can. After a day of rough training, Amy had a special place in the mountains where she would unwind. Sweat dripping from her naked body, she submerged herself in a hot spring at the peak of the mountain pass. Not many people knew about this place, and among those who did, not many had the luxury of time to visit it, making the perfect place for her. From the earliest of dawn till the light of the moon embraced the forest, she trained her body and mind to be the best she can. Having influence in physics is one. The music stopped, sorry. Having influence in physics is one thing, but using them properly is something entirely different. Since she was a child, she trained vigorously the best, to be the very best. And now she needs even more training to know her limits. In the warm water, her mind started to wander. Yuki. He cannot do anything on his own that requires practical skills, yet somehow they found him. There must be something he isn't showing. Catching the attention of Miku, taking breakup decently, being bullied, but not paying it any mind and still helping everyone equally. She has to admit it takes character. What is she even thinking about? Was it her consciousness that making her think about him? Or was it implanted by Jane yesterday? No matter the reason, Yuki won't quit because people are mean to him. Even if it isn't a place for him, maybe she should treat him with a little more dignity. For someone who was always prized, again, for someone who was always prized and could never fail, his struggle was out of touch with reality. Yet the more she thought about it, the more she grew to respect him. Would she have the same strength to face the world where everyone was against her? To some degree, they are in the same situation. Each day, they try their hardest to achieve goals far beyond their reach. Being a master of your body, achieving perfection in all styles of martial arts, and knowing your limits so you can break them over and over again. What do you strive for, Yuki? What is your goal? Recording end. Cool. Yeah. Or this is the problem. I really have a massive issue with the way I speak. I I lack the rhythm. I stop. I I feel like breaks between sentences are too big. I lack the rhythm. The cadence is wrong. I cough. I sneeze. I make a lot of noises that are not really good for this type of work, which is hard. It's difficult. The recording is 36 minutes long. It's really not that long. For a video of a cutting off everything, it will be around 28 minutes, possibly. But my issue with here right now is the recording is one file, but I will have to cut out thousands of little spaces, which is annoying. It's annoying and it's not hard. It's boring. It's mind numbing. And the music stopped again. Hmm. But yeah. Anyway. Hmm. Anyway, back to for the story. Uh. I this chapter we had a lot of free time for them. Like nothing really happened. The lessons were there. Miko likes Boughton, and it's just going on. Yeah. And later, a few moments that were kind of interesting. I feel like we learned a little bit more about the people. Like Jane is really considerate. He thinks about how Miko might interpret her actions more about than she thinks about what she wants. This and also maybe to a little bit degree overthinking everything. Like of course people talk, it's no issue. Like it's absolutely no problem for anyone. But on the off chance that someone might see them and might spread a rumor, overthinking is very common for people and it's very hard to overcome. And on the other hand, Amy, there was Amy, who has a huge issue. Like maybe, how do I say this? Maybe to some degree, she doesn't like Yuki because he might be stronger than her to some degree. Like the power of character, as she said, is very. It's a lot. It's very, very a lot. He's very strong when it comes to the character. But we'll see more about this. I feel like the part about Miko uh, confirming that she. I don't know how much I can say here. Yeah, it's quite a lot. And she doesn't hate him. They didn't break up. It's. Hmm, it's even said here. They didn't break up because they didn't feel connected. It's because something happened. Like, I guess this is a fine, strong hook. I don't know. I know one thing. I have to change my streaming schedule. I'm not really sure what time it should be. Probably. Uh, my way, but pushing it further doesn't change anything, to be honest. It doesn't make it any better or worse. Like, for example, during the stream, I had like 7 notification of different streams going on. So those are very, very big people. Now, even if I were to be found out, I will be overshadowed. I want to have less concurrency, I guess. Oh no, I will just keep going. It's once a week. We'll see. Maybe at 7. Maybe around 8, 9 o'clock will be better. 9 p.m. We'll see. We'll see next week. No, yeah, I can currently do it because I opened it. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you liked the episode. I will do my best. I'm really trying. I'm working hard, reading the parts every day. I'm trying to get better at reading and speaking everything in the entirety. And it's been going well. I feel like my voice has been getting a little bit better. Like, it's only been 2 weeks since I quit, yeah? But I feel like my voice is getting bigger. I can reach higher into what was previously choking me. So maybe in some time I will be able to properly voice the characters. Maybe. We will see. I really like voice stuff. Maybe voice actors to some degree, yeah, also. It's very fun to see a lot of impressions and everything. I feel like those are amazing impressions. Voice acting a little bit less, but it's still impressive to see how the characters can, what voice can, how someone's voice can change entire character. Yeah, beatboxing is awesome. I love people who can beatbox. I love making sounds with my mouth, and it's very, very fun. And I feel like this journey will be a bit of that too. I will be learning a lot of different things, a lot of different stuff. Maybe we can learn to make some tunes to later on. We'll see. Yeah, but for now, this is it for me. This is the longest stream so far, 54 minutes. Damn. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the part. If you have any questions, you can come to the next stream or ask them below.